So we gotta close that. That motherfucker's deaf. Anyway, the PlayStation Vita is officially dead. Sony has discontinued the last two SKUs of the PS Vita. It is no longer being made. Basically, this is the official month that Sony just said fuck you to every Vita owner. Sean Layden, you're a fucking piece of shit. I'm sorry, but you are. It just didn't hit mass appeal. Bitch, y'all are the reason it didn't hit mass appeal. Okay? I can't stand when one of these faces to these companies, but it doesn't really represent the console. When people come out and they say ignorant, stupid shit that you know they're just saying because they gotta say something, even if it's a company well known for not saying a fucking word. Sean Layden, I don't think anybody from PlayStation Vita fan base wants to hear you say anything other than we fucked up. Let me tell you something. The Switch would still be as successful, but the PlayStation Vita would probably be close to the 3DS numbers had you fucking morons took it serious. And don't anybody try to tell me Sony took their PlayStation Vita seriously. Get the fuck out of here. I watched the Vita. Hell, I had a Vita that I bought early in its life cycle, and I have one now. I've bought three total. I've had two of the fat ones and one of the skinny ones that literally feels like you can bend it in half without even trying. That's not the argument. But what I'm saying is the reason the Vita failed. Sean Layden, I need you to understand, you and any other moron who were involved in anything Vita related are the reason it failed. It is not the Sony fan base. It is not the PS Vita's fault. It's not even the fucking PS Vita fans. And it's not even Sony PlayStation fans' fault. There is zero responsibility on the fans, regardless of which one it is, to the Vita. The person to blame, or the people to blame, is you and your dumbass cronies who couldn't understand basic math and making sure the product actually fucking sold. Like, I don't get it. How fucking stupid can you be? You had a system in the PSP that was very successful. I mean, it did a good couple fucking thousand units. And instead of following that idea there and changing a few things, and you changed one. You changed one fucking thing. What did you change? You changed the fucking fact that there were two joysticks on this son of a bitch. Cool. You still put two touchscreens on it that were completely unnecessary. You still overpriced the fuck out of the memory cards. No, that is to never be forgotten, because after everything else, you can forgive the 3G because the damn thing can hook up to the Wi-Fi from your phone. So you can forgive that. That's an easy overlook. You can get past the tickling of the ass of the console without even blinking. You can get past the fact that if you buy a PS Vita, you want the fat one because the slim one has a bad screen. You can get past the bad cameras on this thing. You get past it all because there is a solid library of software. This is the number one reason nobody bought a fucking Vita. The damn overall cost when you include a memory card. Because it wasn't like, oh, it's just $1 or $2 extra. No, it was 30 to 40 when it first came out, and then once every card became made available, it was up to $130+ Nobody wants to pay $130 fucking dollars for a memory card that even when the PS Vita came out was irrelevant then. Nobody. The biggest flaw to that machine was Sony's blatant ignorance and sheer head up the ass fucking ego they have, in which they tried their damnedest to rip off anybody who wanted to buy a Vita. And the fans, rightfully so, said, fuck you. That's why it didn't sell, Sean Layden. It has nothing to do with anything else. That fucking memory card that you felt the need to make proprietary, so you had to buy it from you and couldn't get it anywhere else, is the sole purpose. It's 2019. Why in the fuck is a 64 gig still over $100? I'm just saying. The 3DS sold due to the memory. That's it, due to the memory. There is no big... Everybody knows Game Boy, everybody knows Nintendo and handhelds. That was going to fall in place regardless. The system did terrible its first year. And Mr. Iwata, R.I.P., took money out of his own pockets to invest into a machine. Let me ask you a question, Sean. You ever withheld money from yourself to make sure the product sells? You ever done anything to that extreme? No, you haven't. Okay? They saw the system failing and they went in and they fixed it to what would actually sell. It wouldn't become until the new 3DS where we got the stabilizer, but the bigger screen and all that, we got that. We asked for stuff from Nintendo and Nintendo actually answered us. Okay, if you bought a 3DS like I did when they first came out, you had the little one and you were like, you know what, this is fucking amazing. Whether you like the 3D aspect of it or not is not relevant. I'm just saying, when you first got it, you're like, this is amazing, it's so much fun. I just wish it had a bigger screen. Oh, Nintendo comes out and says, hey, here's the 3DS XL, answering that. And then it became, you know, I kind of wish the 3D was more stable, because if I move a little bit, it blurs all the shit. And Nintendo said, we got one for you. It's called the new 3DS, and it's going to have 3D stabilizer, which tracks your face while you're playing. Nintendo was just answering, you dig? Because the new 3DS came out and it was the XL, not the Slim at first. And then people asked Nintendo, hey Nintendo, we want to play all these 3DS games, but we really don't like the 3D effect and we don't want to have to just slide a button. Can you answer us for that? Nintendo said, sure, here is a 2DS. Now granted, it was ugly and looked like a fucking brick. What did Nintendo fans do? Hey Nintendo, we love the 2DS thing, but we don't like the brick. We want the clamshell because it is 2 screens, so could you help us out? Nintendo said, I got you. And they released the new 2DS XL with the clamshell base. And that's how they've been able to maintain. The 3DS has had a insanely long life cycle. There's got to be well over 2,000 games on the 3DS. But you can get a 3DS to fit you personally. Not only do you have all that I just went through, but you have designs. They got Mario, Zeldas, Pokemons. I'm pretty sure I saw a Metroid. There's a Smash Bros. There's all types to fit you personally. This is basically the handheld version of the, what we call the white 360. You know, the one that people went and drew all over and did a lot of funky designs. Yeah, that's basically what you have here. The 3DS is the handheld version of the 360 to how personalized you can make these machines. Okay? And PlayStation, please understand, I still have a fucking Vita because right now it's the only way I'm going to play Final Fantasy X until it comes out on the Switch. But you didn't future-proof this system at all. You took away its strongest features from the first model, and you thought, well, because it's slimmer, nobody's really going to give a fuck. No, people cared. Okay? Because you still had the one lingering fault. A expensively overpriced sack of shit proprietary memory card that nobody was buying. Believe me, There are more PlayStation Vita owners out there right now kicking themselves in the ass for spending as much money as they have on memory that you can literally buy for damn near $10 if it's a micro SD card and you want to throw it in to the 3DS. You can buy a regular SD card or you can buy a micro SD card up to 120 fucking 8 gigs right now. And by the end of the year, it's going to be expensive, but I think by the end of this year, if not the middle of next year, this 1 terabyte micro SD card, which is coming out soon, which you will be able to throw into the Switch, you'll probably also be able to throw that bitch into the 3DS, makes the 3DS look so much better. If I can buy a 128 gig SD card to throw into my 3DS, and it costs me not even half of what your 64 gig proprietary memory card cost, you just lost. There is no win. People like to say memory doesn't matter. No, memory doesn't matter to you. When we're talking these devices, and the 3DS and the Vita are devices which need a good battery life, and they need storage, which storage is memory. Especially because of how social Sony and Nintendo wanted their handheld consoles, because they saw this coming. They saw people becoming more digital. They saw people becoming more active in life, so they don't really have the ability to sit in front of the TV. Sony, the fact you completely blackballed your handheld from any chance of success by overcharging for the memory card. And again, people can say, oh, it wasn't that. Yes. Go talk to any real PlayStation Vita owner and ask them the one thing they hate. And I'm telling you, the one thing that no PlayStation Vita can stand, they hate it. They hate it so much, is that price for the fucking memory cards. And when you ask them, do you think that's why it didn't sell? Believe me, it's in their top 10 reasons for the PlayStation Vita not being a success. Because it's hard to argue the library of games. It's very hard. I like everything I bought, and I have a pretty good collection here of about 30 games, plus I have a few digital. But the fact the system was not future-proof, the fact that the system, cost the exact same amount as a PS3 in 2015. In 2010. The PS3 was still pretty relatively high, and the PS Vita was no easier on anyone's pockets. This thing was doomed from the get. Now, I talk shit about it with my PlayStation friends because they're my PlayStation friends. And I told them that before anything happened because I still love the PS Vita. Or not Vita, but the fucking PSP. I still love that fucking machine. So, yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing, especially if you're a old PlayStation portable player like myself. You dig? So, anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go sit in the car and I'm gonna smoke this blunt because that's what we do on this side.